Hey everybody, Monday morning, day 15. You know what you're going to do, keep going. Okay, so today, Monday, usually we look at mobility, but generally on Mondays I want to look at movement in general. Now, the reason I talk about mobility so much and try and impress the fact that you need to be doing mobility work on people is because it's going to help you improve your quality of movement, improve the quality of your movement patterns, optimize movement and the performance and the functioning of your joints. And that is going to allow you to become stronger, faster, more powerful, more stable, etc, etc, etc. So mobility, movement work in general is really foundational stuff. It's super important if you want to optimize your performance, perform better. Now here's the thing. A lot of the work that you need to do to improve movement quality is kind of corrective exercise. Now that term puts a lot of people off, so I want to just set that aside for a minute. Let's not use the term corrective exercise anymore. When you're improving your movement quality, okay, what you're really looking to do is strengthen weak links, okay, optimize the performance and function of your joints, make sure they're nice and centralized when you're moving, okay, and also you are trying to balance out your posture and balance out the strength of the muscles that surround joints, really, so that you have kind of, not necessarily symmetry, but you have balance, is the best word to describe it. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so really quickly before we dive into today's movement, most people are interested in doing the stuff that looks good, that makes them feel good, the more exciting type exercises that you can see results from. So let's take, for example, a lot of people have jacked up shoulders. They have painful shoulders that are dysfunctional, don't move well, and they haven't got a good range of motion, okay? They don't have good mobility in their shoulders, and they get pain. That's because people tend to prioritize too much horizontal pushing, bench press, push-ups, and also too much vertical pushing, kettlebell presses, military presses, and also pulling, like vertical pulling, like chin-ups, pull-ups, and if you're lucky, people might do some inverted rows or some horizontal pulling movements. Not always so much. So the problem with this is you work your prime movers. Let's take the bench press. You work your prime movers, you work your pec major, a little bit of pec minor, anterior deltoid, tricep, okay, amongst other things. The prime movers, the big muscles, okay, that you can see in the mirror and you can feel when you bench press. And it feels like a good exercise. Nothing wrong with bench press per se, but people don't balance it out, okay, by working the antagonists. So those are the muscles that are opposite the prime movers. But also, the thing that people really neglect are the little muscles that you can't really see in the mirror and you can't necessarily visibly see growing over time. The neutralizers and the stabilizer muscles, little muscles that surround joints and help keep the joint centered and moving smoothly so you have good joint mechanics. And that's why I'm so big on mobility, and that's why I'm so big on movement quality and corrective exercise. Simply put, you can forget the fancy terms. The rationale is it will make you stronger, it will make you faster, it will make you more powerful, it will make you better generally at whatever you choose to do if you spend time doing the groundwork and improving movement quality. But people don't like it. Some people think it's boring, it's not exciting, they want more variety, and I can completely understand that, okay? It takes dedication, it takes consistency to achieve things, and it's not always exciting. You know, newsflash, I've mentioned this before a lot of times. You need to be consistent, you need to get in there, you need to do the work if you want the result. I used to love variety, I'm quite a creative person, I used to love variety and I wanted to flit around, and I wouldn't stick to any particular training program for more than a few weeks, and then I'd kind of switch it around because I felt I needed to freshen up and mentally I felt a bit stale. And that's a huge mistake. If you want results and if you want to have actual measurable progress, it's a huge mistake. And it's about 3 to 4 years ago, I really started focusing in on consistency. And when I was trying to do muscle-ups for the first time, when I first got rings a couple of years ago, and I was trying to do muscle-ups, I had no chance. I was like, fuck me, how the hell do people do this? No chance. My shoulders weren't having it, I didn't have the range of motion, wasn't strong enough, blah, 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 blah. And so I spent the best part of 6 months working up to strict muscle-ups. And it was a lot of consistency was required. Full script chin-ups, bodyweight dips, a fucking shit ton of those, okay, for a long time. And then I got some really good, 3 reps is the maximum I achieved. I've only filmed 2. Strict, really nice strict, non-kipping muscle-ups, which I loved, felt really good, and it's just a little personal goal for me. But the route to performance-related goals ultimately is consistency. It's doing the groundwork. And it's being prepared to do the things that are not exciting sometimes. But that's just a matter of perspective. That's how you view things in your brain. And actually you can flip that on its head. The fact that, oh, corrective exercise, mobility might be boring. You can flip it on its head, okay, like that, boom. Turn it around, reframe it, give it a different perspective. Actually strengthening some of the weak links and improving my posture and balancing out my joints and improving my movement quality is the route to me doing the exciting, cool, more advanced stuff. And if I really want to perform better and be stronger and be faster and be more powerful than X, Y, Z, then I need to make sure I'm covering the basics and the foundational work. I'm building up brick by brick, because that's how you make progress. Whether it is with your body and exercise and health and fitness and athletic goals, or whether it is with your business, you know, whether you're running a business or doing marketing campaigns or, you know, training clients, any aspect of pretty much anything, you need to be quite consistent and you need to be prepared to roll your sleeves up, get in there, do the foundational work, the stuff that is not always exciting and glamorous. Okay, enough said. So today's exercise is the ring face pull. Face pulls are absolutely fantastic. Not many people do them, okay? And you can do them with cables or bands or rings, and I absolutely love the rings. Gymnastic rings are my favourite tool at the moment, and they are hands down the best tool for upper body strength, okay, and control and building stability at the same time. Being able to handle your body weight effectively and build strength on a pair of rings in something like a dip, okay, is challenging and it takes dedication, but it's massively rewarding. And so I love the rings, and you can use them, they're so versatile. You can take those out, they cost about 30 to 40 pounds. You can take them out, string them in a tree, pretty much anywhere you are, and you can have an amazing upper body workout, okay? You can use different tools for lower body, we'll cover that another time. So face pulls, what's the rationale for doing face pulls, okay? It's to work muscles that are neglected, it's to balance the shoulder, it's to strengthen the shoulder and allow you ultimately to be stronger and more powerful and perform better. And so we're going to be targeting posterior deltoid, okay, which is neglected. We often work the anterior and the medial, but we don't work the posterior deltoid. I'm still working on mine. Okay, really important muscles to balance out posterior chain exercise. We're going to be working mid traps and lower traps and rhomboids. And also, a really important part of this face pull exercise is it's kind of a hybrid between a row and an external rotation exercise, which is going to hit the rotator cuff musculature, the external rotators of the shoulders, okay? And this is one of the best things you can do to get stronger, okay, and balance yourself out in external rotation, okay? External rotation. So, very effective exercise, absolutely brilliant if you do a lot of pressing movements, if you have shoulder pain, if you need to optimize your shoulder health and mechanics. A couple of really quick points before we dive in. You're going to see that I deliberately lock my hips and I arch. So when I'm doing any ring pulling movements, I have quite an arched position in the lower back. Now, I'm not snapped and I'm not broken and I'm not in hyperextension. So it's very important when you're doing this exercise to keep your core engaged, okay? So I've got my glutes squeezed like I'm holding a 50-pound note in between my butt cheeks. I'm tucking my tail under. Lower ribs are down, I'm engaged, so I have a solid cylinder here. If you feel this exercise in your lower back, it means you're not engaged enough in your core and you're overextending here and you're using your lumbar erectors, and that's not great. So you need to be locked down like a dead bug, tight, solid cylinder all round. You need to maintain that with a glute squeeze and a slight tuck. Okay, and that's one point you need to remember. Second point is this is a hybrid between a row like that, and an external rotation. So you need to get the rings, you need to retract your scapulae, your shoulder blades, pull them, pinch them back and down slightly, and then you get a half row and half external rotate, and at the end you're going to turn your hands backwards like that to really hit the posterior deltoid and the rotator cuff. So this is what 5 reps looks like. You want to start with the rings relatively high, okay? So to make it easier, because this is a challenging movement, and you need to practice without too much load so you can feel it in the right places. Posterior deltoid, in between the shoulder blades, okay? And rotator cuff, external rotators. Now, practice, experiment, start with the rings quite high, okay, and just really get used to this. Core on, retract shoulder blades, and then external, like row and external rotate and turn the hands out, okay? And it'll take you a little bit of practice, but you'll enjoy this. Shoot me any questions if you're really struggling with it. Okay, so core on, retract, 1. Always keeping your weight backwards. 2. 3. 4. 5. So that's 5 reps, so I don't bore you. I'm going to do sort of 8 to 10 reps for a set, and then I'm going to rest about 60 to 90 seconds. I look quite arched, but remember that my core is on and I'm not overextending here. And when I'm in pulling patterns, horizontal pulling patterns on the rings, I always want to actually lift my hips up. So that's hence the arch position, but the core is actually engaged here. If I wasn't engaged, my lower back would be more like this, snapped, okay, anterior pelvic tilt. So this is on, really work on squeezing the glutes, tucking under, solid cylinder. And then you just need to get used to this weird movement of retracting, suck the shoulder blades back and down, half row and half external rotation. And the little flare at the end is like that. It's like just flicking your wrist a little bit and pulling to really engage the rotator cuff and the posterior deltoid. Have a practice, shoot me questions, fantastic exercise. Be consistent with this, stick with it for a couple of weeks. It'll take you a couple of weeks to actually get the refinements and the hang of it. And with all ring exercises, and with every exercise, every movement pattern, it's the technique points and the form and the little flourishes which make the difference, okay? So it's the little points like retracting, shoulders back and down, the core on, the glutes on, and the little flick of the wrists that make the actual difference between how you feel it and whether you're just kind of cheating it. So have a play with that, ring, face pulls, enjoy, keep going on Monday. I'm going to have another food training for you on Wednesday, the last food one for a time being. And I'm going to take it from what we looked at on Friday into actual food. Actual foods based on how I eat, what I eat, how I work with clients to make it a little bit more applicable for you. So, great job everyone, keep going, see you on Wednesday.